Rink Wide Vancouver. Pre-game, post-game, every game presented by Bodog. From sports odds to free casino games, make a play at bodog.net. Wadden and JPat back once again with another edition of the pre-game show as the Canucks are into the final stretch here. JPat, 15 games to go, but first time that they've been to LaLa Land this year.
Yeah, 3 of the final 15 are against these Los Angeles Kings. They'll be back in Southern California to finish up the schedule, and the Kings will come to Vancouver. Canucks beat the Kings 4-1 back in November. That feels like a lifetime ago. These teams are going in different directions. The Canucks are looking for their 30th win of the year. The Kings are sitting on 40 victories, and they're playing some terrific hockey. Although, I tried this on for size, and I didn't realize this till I was scanning through the game notes earlier today. The Canucks have picked up a point in 11 straight games against the LA Kings. No regulation losses in their last 11, 9-0-2 in that time. So they have owned the Kings, but it's going to be a tough task to extend that stretch and that streak tonight.
Let's get to the lineup change. It's presented by Delaney's OK Tire out there in Fraser Highway in Langley. What do we got tonight?
Well, we're expecting that Thatcher Demko is going to start for a 5th straight time. The Southern California native facing the Los Angeles Kings. He's 3-0 lifetime against the Kings and has only given up 3 goals. In fact, has a shutout, 2 over that stretch in Bruce Boudreau's coaching debut. You may recall, of course, the Canucks have turned the page from Bruce, and it's Rick Tocchet's team now. But we look for Thatcher Demko in goal. Canucks have a couple of extra bodies. Ethan Bear has been out for 3 weeks, but he's close. He could draw in, and we're still wondering about Aidan McDonough and when he's going to make his NHL debut, not expecting that it's going to happen tonight. Of course, the Canucks coming off a 3-2 loss in Arizona the other night, so it's not like they're on a win streak, and Rick Tocchet could make some changes, but not anticipating that there will be many.
Rick Tocchet thought his team was sleepy against the Arizona Coyotes. You're not going to want to sleep against this Kings team.
No, these are not the Coyotes. The Kings, they've got designs on the division title, perhaps the conference title. It kind of feels like the league is sleeping on the Los Angeles Kings a little bit. They've got 89 points, and they're a good hockey club. So, yeah, the Canucks can't afford to wade into this game. I know they opened the scoring at Mullet Arena the other night, but then really kind of sat back and didn't do a whole lot. From that point forward, they're going to have to be on their toes against the Kings tonight.
The 5-game win streak, of course, was snapped against the Coyotes. This is going to be a bounce-back game for the Canucks. Be interesting to see what they got under Rick Tocchet.
Yeah, the good news for the new coach is that they haven't had to have many bounce-back games in the short time that he's been behind the bench. I think of the 6-1 loss down in Seattle in his second game, and they responded with a good home ice win against Columbus going into the All-Star break. There was also the 6-1 loss at home to the Detroit Red Wings. They followed that up with another loss, but they were game against the New York Rangers. Whatever the case, you don't want to have bounce-back games on the regular, and the Canucks haven't done that. But yeah, just listening to the coach's comments post-game, he wasn't happy with his hockey team. Club had won 5 in a row. They're going to try to start a new win streak here tonight, but they're going to have to be better than they were Thursday at the outset of the road trip.
Yeah, power play is going to have to be better for the Canucks as well. Came up empty. Plenty of chances in the desert, though.
Yeah, 10 shots on goal in 5 opportunities, but let's talk about the goals they scored. Oh, no. It was the Arizona Coyotes that scored a couple of power play goals, and special teams were the difference there. And it wasn't just the other night. The Canucks are 2 for their last 17 in the past 5 games. Andrei Kuzmenko, not a surprise, he's got both of them, but one of them was into an empty net. So really, in terms of setting up and working with the man advantage, the Canucks power play has fizzled here. We'll see if they can get things started against the Kings.
Too many passengers against the Coyotes. One line was going, but the rest, MIA.
Yeah, and this is too tough a league, and I think this is a perfect example of what happens when you only have one line going. Kuzmenko and Pettersson scored the goals. Anthony Beauvillier was in on them, but that top line was the best line. After that, it was hard to find guys that really stepped up against the Coyotes. They're going to need more players involved in the scoring if they're going to grind out a victory at Crypto.com tonight.
Let's shift gears, take a look at the LA Kings now, who are one of the hottest teams in the NHL.
Are they ever? 7-0-1 in their last 8, but go much further back than that. They're 12-2-2, 2 outright losses in their last 16 hockey games. They have been dynamite on home ice as well. They're coming off back-to-back victories. So this is a team that's in a bit of a groove right now. As I said, it's got designs on not just the division title, but these guys could be sleepers in terms of a run to the conference title at the wire here. They're right there in the mix. In fact, they start today a point back of the Vegas Golden Knights in the Pacific Division. So they've got legitimate aspirations of making some real noise here once the postseason begins. So yes, this is going to be a challenge for the Vancouver Canucks.
And they have a lot of contributors, the Kings do. A lot of scoring depth on this team.
Yeah, and that depth is being leaned on right now because Kevin Fiala, who was an incredible offseason acquisition, they made the trade and then they committed to him with the big contract, and he's been terrific. He's got 68 points on the season, but he's going to miss his 4th straight game. So they're without their leading scorer, but this is where the depth of the Kings comes through. And whether it's Adrian Kempe, who's their leading goal scorer, Anze Kopitar is having a terrific season. But this is a team that for years, people in the hockey world talked about having the best depth and prospect pool. And we're starting to see some of that come to fruition as well. Gabe Vilardi's got 22 goals on the season. Arthur Kaliev is in double digits. And how about Quentin Byfield? The kid is 20 years old, hasn't even turned 21 yet. And he's a half a point a game performer. He's got 19 points in the 40 games that he's played in the National Hockey League this season. So he's stepping up and stepping in for the Kings, and across the board. They've just got a ton of depth scoring, and the Canucks are going to have to pick their poison in terms of how they try to approach this in terms of matchups and shutdown and all that kind of stuff, because the Kings can come at you in a number of different ways, even without Kevin Fiala.
Yeah, and it's not just up front for the Kings as well. They have a solid blue line, and they added to that blue line at the trade deadline.
Yeah, Vladislav Gavrikov from the Columbus Blue Jackets. And of course, it was a package deal. And they got Jonas Korpisalo, the goaltender. What a crazy season in Los Angeles. They started the year with Jonathan Quick, the franchise icon, 2-time Stanley Cup winner, and Cal Peterson. Those were their goaltenders. They have made a mid-season switch, and neither of those guys is on the roster anymore. Phoenix Copley has stepped in and been incredible for them, but he's going to sit tonight, and it will be Korpisalo. Since the trade, the Kings have rotated the goaltenders. Korpisalo is 3-0 in his 3 starts in Los Angeles and has given up 2 goals in each of those games. So he's getting the job done. Guys are playing well in front of him. And the Kings felt that they needed to shore up the back end. They certainly did that in that trade with the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Longtime Canuck Alex Edler, of course, in LA now. Are we seeing the final games, perhaps, of his career?
There's going to be some playoff hockey for Alex Edler, but how much he's involved for the Kings, he's definitely a third-pairing guy. The Eagles going to turn 37 next month, and this is the final year of his contract. So you do have to think that perhaps the end is near. We'll see how much he's involved. As I say, he does a little bit of penalty killing for them, but he played 14 minutes the other night in the Kings win over the Columbus Blue Jackets. So he's a depth defenseman. They lean on his experience at this stage of the season, but he's not a primetime guy, not by a long shot. And, they've just got a defense that they have built around him and ahead of him. So yes, the Canucks will still see the Kings 3 more times. So they're not done with Alex Edler. And of course, when his career is over, I think there's a spot waiting for him in the Ring of Honor at Rogers Arena.
Let's get to the stat that stands out. And of course, it's presented by Jason Hominick at Jason.Mortgage.
We talk about Alex Edler, one of the Kings defenders. One of the reasons that he doesn't play a lot is because Drew Doughty does. At the age of 33, Drew Doughty, and a lot of people, I think, had written him off. Drew Doughty is second in the National Hockey League in average ice time per game at 26 minutes and 20 seconds, and nobody, Andrew, in the NHL this season has logged more total minutes than Drew Doughty. He's a workhorse still at the age of 33. And so we know that Quinn Hughes plays a lot and has played a ton here of late. So you're going to see 2 of the busiest defensemen in the National Hockey League on opposing sides tonight. That's the stat that stands out for me. Let's chart the ice time of Drew Doughty and Quinn Hughes as the Canucks and Kings get after it. The stat that stands out, a presentation of Jason Hominick at Jason.Mortgage.
Time now for my Bodog Best Bet, and I've gone to this one many times. I've got both teams to score in the first period at plus 145. JPat, this is the 6th time I've made this bet this season. Of the 5, I've hit it 3 times so far. So hoping to hit it again. Listen, you got to go to the well from time to time. I need a win right now. I think I'm going to get one tonight.
All right, some early fireworks down in Los Angeles. We shall see. Again, the Kings have been pretty stingy, especially on home ice, but we know that the Canucks can score. We'll see if they do, and if they do, for your sake, I hope it's early in the hockey game.
All right, we got 50 more Bodog bucks to give away. Of course, we do these on the Saturday night games, and we're coming to the end of the season here, so you're going to want to get into this. Tell us the game-winning goal, time, and period. You can post it in the comments below here on YouTube, or head over to Twitter at RinkWideVan, find the post, and leave it there. And yeah, the person that guesses closest with the game-winning goal, time, and period is taking home $50 in Bodog bucks. All right, time now to tell us who is going to do something in this game.
Well, I'm going to a twofer here. I've got 2 guys that I'm focused on. They play on the same line, and boy, have they been quiet. Vitaly Kravtsov, since the trade, there was high hopes. People liked the deal, taking a bit of a chance on a guy that had underperformed with the Rangers. Well, I think he's kind of carried over into his time already with the Vancouver Canucks. Just 1 point in the 8 games that he has played. Pointless in his last 6. He's basically a fourth liner right now. And so I take that into account, but he's seen a little bit of second unit power play duty as well. There have been a few moments along the way, but we need more than moments from this guy to get a better evaluation. So Vitaly Kravtsov, certainly would like to see him do something in the same breath. Vasily Podkolzin over on the other side on that fourth line. It's been awfully quiet for Pods as well. 1 point in his last 7 hockey games. So both of these guys, this is the time of the season. Time is running out. 15 games to go. You want to put your best foot forward. You better do something to cement your spot in the lineup. So Kravtsov, Podkolzin, I'm putting them both on blast here on the pregame show. I want to see one or both of them do something against the Kings tonight.
All right, well, let's see if the Canucks can bounce back in LA, steal the crown from the Kings. This has been another edition of the Rink Wide Vancouver podcast presented by Bodog. For Jeff Patterson, I'm Andrew Wadden. Remember, Rink Wide is the show that always scores.